Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. And thank you very much for coming to this seminar. And I would like to thank Dr. Noman Arshed for coming here to deliver this seminar. And let me briefly introduce Dr. Noman. He did his BS from FC University Lahore, Pakistan. And then he went on to study his master degree from Edinburgh University, UK. And then, later he decided to join the education sector, and he's currently working as an assistant professor in a very reputable university in Pakistan. And he also did his PhD from one of the best university in Pakistan. And his specialty is actually doing econometric analysis, many different types of, methods he specializes in. And until I think you have been in the sector for 8 years in the education sector, and he managed to publish more than 75 papers which are indexed in Scopus and Web of Science. So thank you very much, Dr. Rahman, and the floor is yours. And you have approximately 50 minutes, and then we will keep last 10 minutes for question and answers.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, before we start, in a survey data analysis, there are two major categories of analysis issues that we need to solve. First major type is that when you collect the data, you need to assign the cluster weights, and you need to find how to find weights. So that is a separate side of analysis. And the other side is that you need to create latent variables and then create a SEM out of it. So in this session, I will give you the most examples for the SEM. And if you need, I can provide you materials related to if you need to add the weights for the cluster in the survey estimations. So I will start with these slides. I will focus on why you should consider shifting to R rather than using M+ or Smart PLS or Amos, any other software that you think can do the simultaneous equations. Why? So I will start giving you some arguments, and then I will show you the examples. So first of all, we already know that there is a scientific process that is developed in physical sciences, and from there, if you convert it into research, the green portion are there where R can play its role. So like you can import the data into software, collect the data, import into software, convert it into usable form, do a test, then do a feature engineering. So you can see the blue portion is the scientific method, and the green portion is the contribution of R in that cycle of research. And on the other side, the importance of R is that there are two distinct languages. One is computer language, that is 0 and 1, and the other side is humans that talk in their own language. They both do not understand each other. So computer will only operate if it understands the command, and we will understand if we can understand what they are saying.
Can you make a full slide?
Okay. Yeah. So the programming language function is that it becomes a translator for us. So the most popular programming language was C++. It is positioned somewhere nearer to the computer and far from us. So this is technically showing us that we learn C++, and C++ guides computer so that it becomes our translator. So the programming language has this advantage. But if you see SPSS, it's not a programming language. It will be very near to human. If you can see, if you can, let me get it highlighted here. It will be somewhere. It will be somewhere here, very near to human, because very user friendly. But since it is very far from the computer, It is not human yeah, or what you call it, adaptable. You cannot say that do this in a new way. It will do the way that is fed in it. Okay, so for the new way, you need to get the new version of the software, and still it will be the newness is still very limited. But in a programming language, you can craft a newness by making hybrid models. So C++ has reduced the distance between humans and computer, and R comes here. It's very near to humans, but what R does, it covers the distance on the other side by linking with other programming languages. Means that the functions that are, which are easy for computer to understand, it can directly tell, and the functions that are in the R are easy for us but difficult for the computer. It uses the translator again to convert it into C++ and then guides the computer. So what happens is that there are now two translators. The advantage of R is, like some people can say that Stata can do the same thing. Stata converts it into C++ and then does it. But the advantage of R is that it's not only dependent on C++, it can use it Fortran, it can use the JavaScript, even Python. Means the advantage of R is that it can pick any language that helps the best to fulfill the function. It can gain it. So this is the advantage of R. It is just made to do data analysis. So if you create a program which takes more time by using C++, it will you can try using Java or try using Python so that it can become more optimized.
So where do you put SPSS and other software?
Yeah, so SPSS will be here, somewhere here. SPSS is very near to humans. So if SPSS can adopt this thing, it will also become. But the problem is SPSS is focused on consumer user easiness, not the programmability. So if SPSS transfers itself to programmability, it might become useful. So it's not programmable. Its program is already fixed, just like a calculator. If you have noticed the Casio calculator, it has some numbers, fx100, fx120. It shows that how many functions are already there. You cannot do more than that. Same thing is with SPSS or eViews or Smart PLS or Amos. But that is not true with R. You can create your own because it has matrix algebra in it. It has equation, simultaneous equation in it. You can craft your own equation, make a hybrid model, and then estimate.
So that means that R becomes a little bit more difficult as well to understand?
Yes, it is not difficult to understand, but you need to have some imagination to think of what should I do. So if the user does not know matrix multiplication, that what should be the shape of two matrices and how to multiply, R will not help him to arrange the matrix in a way that it will be multiplied. He should make sure that data is arranged in a way that the rows of first matrix and columns of second are same so that they are multiplied. Otherwise, he has to take transpose or something. What? Yes. R has yes, R has very detailed instruction manual, but since it is a programming language, it means you have open ground to do anything. But for that, you need to be good in that subject. Otherwise, it is as good as SPSS for him.
So it's like user friendly also.
It is user friendly because here I am showing R, and I will use RStudio, which is a graphical version of R. So RStudio will convert the code into R, and if the R codes are straightforward, it will go directly to the computer. If it is complicated, it will go to C++ and then go to the computer. So that will make it easier. And now there are more softwares that are built on R and they are more further easier. I will show you one software today. So some features like different functions can be added. You can create new algorithms, sub-algorithms, or you can make your own libraries. It is human friendly and it codes can evolve. And one of the best advantage of this software is that it is open source software. You don't need a license for it. You don't need to pay for it. So for other countries which are developing countries where they cannot afford softwares and they are reliant on the pirated versions, this is free for all. And it can adopt to any econometric or data analysis need. So if you learn using it, you will adopt. Other advantage of it is that it can do all the research work. You can connect LaTeX with it. So while you are coding your data analysis, you are also writing the LaTeX text so that when you execute the command, it will create a document, whole write-up and the tables of output. So everything will be custom ready from in the PDF form in R. So you might not need Microsoft Office for that if that is also not registered version. So that's its advantage. Another last advantage is that in the business studies, you might have noticed people are working on dashboards. They do project and convert it into a website where dynamic data is shown. You can do it in R, do analysis, and then fetch that on a website. And you change the data or change the parameters, the website will show the output. And you can add more details in the website that you change the country name or change the parameters, the results change. So R can do that too. So R was started in 1993. It's an open source software. It is a complex structured data frame. It has good graphics, and it's the packages are growing over time. So more and more functions are available. RStudio has 4 windows. I will show you that software. It shows output. You write the code in the script. It shows you the output in the console. And unlike Stata, you might have seen Stata, you can only load one data at a time. Even in Smart PLS, one data at a time. And even, I don't know, other softwares, even SPSS, one data at a time. In R, you can load 100 of data sets at same time. And you can, if their rows or columns are matching, you can merge them. So that's the advantage, that the environment will add all the objects. It can be a data file, it can be a matrix, it can be a column vector or a row vector, it can be a set of names. I will show you what are other types. The last window will show you the graphs. Okay. Before going to the other slide, I will show you the RStudio interface. So this is the interface. This is the code file that I've shown. And outputs comes here. Data windows here. You can also go in tutorial and install this library, and you can write the command of any library and it will show you the tutorial. It has tutorials in it. It can also have an ability to, if you create a 3D graph, it can show it here. If you want to make a video for a 3D graph to rotate it, it will become a presentation, it can come here. So it is very versatile in terms of data analysis. Now R packages. So in R you have to give them packages. Packages is set of translations. Like if you want to tell R that I need to do regression analysis. So how to tell computer what to do in regression analysis, you need to give them set of commands and their meanings. So we call it library or package. So it will be installed like this and loaded like that. So the advantage of this is that unlike SPSS, when you open it up, it takes a lot of time because it loads all of the packages at same time. Even in MATLAB, it takes a lot of time to open up. But R is very fast because even if you install it, until you load it, it will not take the memory of the computer. So if my computer has like thousands of packages installed, but I might only load 3 or 4 at one time. So it will not take memory in the computer and it will run very fast. So that's the other advantage. That's what I say, that you buy a financial calculator, which is very expensive, but you only need to do 2 plus 2. So for that 2 plus 2, you spend a lot of money. You could have got the simple calculator which does only 2 plus 2. So R does that. So the function that you need to do, you can just load that library and then do the function, and then you can unload it and load the others. So you can install one per computer, one in lifetime, and one per session. So this tidyverse is most important library that R has introduced. It is used for data handling, data cleaning, data sorting, data shortlisting, data filtering, all the data handling related. So this is the web of sub libraries that are used to create a tidyverse. Okay, it was created by him. He has his website. Okay, so this library is compulsory if you need to do data cleaning and data importing, and you need to convert the variables into new forms. Okay, so I will give you one example. So in R, if you need to import the data, it requires data to be in tidy form. Tidy form example is that what we in economics we say a panel data setting. So in a panel data, first column is a country, then a year, then variables. So the definition is data is tidy if the variables, each variable has its own column, each case has its own row, each value has its own cell. So this is a panel data form, which as in economics we already knew. So if data is in that form, it will easily run. And what are other forms of data that R has? It can be a list. List means a variable name with English string data, or qualities like attributes, numbers, small names, or large names with spaces. Or it can be models. Output of a regression result can be stored in a variable and it can become a data. Like
if it is a survey data, for example,
yes.
So we have individuals, right? And there's no time here.
Yes.
So this is only individual.
So it's a cross section. Yeah.
Cross section. So then we just need.
You will not have a country variable, year variable.
Okay. So only starts with
the individuals variables.
Variable. That is mean tidy.
Yes. So what does models mean? That if you are doing a loop over several countries and doing time series regression, so the regression results are stored in a variable. So that variable will become a model. So a variable first column, first box in the variable is estimation result of first country. Second box is estimation result of second country. So it becomes a data of regression results. So this is an example. Like you created a panel data and you are now estimating country-wise time series regression out of it. So it will pick first country, give you R square, shows you the data, and shows you the result. So how rich the data structure is. If you see other softwares, it can only store country name or numbers. Or if you go in Stata, it can make vectors like data. But the last form, that is not available in any other software, unlike Python or R. They are here. So this way you can see what data is. If you go in the domain of big data, so then other forms are also there. The audio recordings or pictures, it can come as a data here. So why data? Why R? It's constantly growing. its replicability is superior to the user-friendly softwares like eViews, SPSS, Smart PLS, and then it's open source, free of copyright. It's a customizable. Like if I show you graphs, that you can customize the graphs and make it in higher density. You want to make a graph, so you have already noticed that the good journals require you to upload your graphs in a TIFF format with 300 dpi, and most of the people are not able to make it because any other software does not do it. I used to call my friend who is a graphic designer, tell him that this is my graph, enhance it, but I cannot call him every day. But R can do it. You just make a graph, tell him to export in a 300 dpi format. It will give you a graph in a 220 MB size. So you can make it bigger, 600 dpi or 1000 dpi. It will make it. It has a speed. It has a modularization, means you can connect it with other softwares. In computer sciences, we call it a pipeline. You make a server of a data, add an R which picks the data, do analysis, add a dashboard in the front where it start giving you output. And its example is here. Even BBC claims that they use R for their graphs because they prefer the versatility or the customization that they can get. And one reporter from New York Times also claim that she likes R for graphs. So these are two blogs that I found where the R is used. Now I will go towards the slides where SEM has been shown, or open it up from here. This one. Yes. So one author, Charles Lanphier, has created an interactive slides where it will show you that how Lavan can help you in doing SEM. It will give you advantages, but one major difference that I will tell you here is that in the SEM that you do in M plus or Smart PLS or Amos, the difference is that in that you make a diagram first and analysis comes later. In Lavan, you do the analysis, you make the equations and estimate, and the diagrams come later. So it will make the diagram automatically because it's an equation based. So if it's an equation based, means you can customize anything in the system. So RStudio is a programming language for statistical computing. If one already knows M plus, Israel, or any similar software, you can ask why should I use R. Advantage is that R is free. You don't need a terminal server. You can create an output and it can be broadcast anywhere. But in that software, it will convert it into a PDF file. It is not broadcastable. And it has large community, and it's also growing. And it can handle any format of data. It is replicatable. So if you can make a code, you can change the data file and check it again anytime. For example, if one of my colleague did his PhD and his R code was 200 lines. So 200 line means in SPSS at least 200 buttons are to be pressed. The problem is that it's very difficult to remember the order of 200 buttons for a year or 2 years or 10 years. But if you have converted your work into a code, after 10 years, if you see that a new angle of that theory came into light, or the data has changed or data has become bigger, you just replace the data file and apply the same code on it and replicate the results, or maybe do a comparison. So that's an advantage of coding. You don't have to remember the process. You can focus on logic, interpretation, policy implication, or innovation, how you find new ways to do something. You can integrate many models. Like recently I did the spatial econometric model. The one of the model is SAR, spatial autoregressive model. I integrated that with time series dynamic model. So it becomes two-dimensional dynamic model. It was spatially dynamic and time series dynamic. So it was integratable in R. So it is a programming language. All you have to do, ask or find a way to ask. It will do anything. So Lavan is a web package that does SEM. Its full name is latent variable analysis. It can do SEM. It is simpler than Lizrael and M+, where sometimes coding can be done. It can handle large data set. It can be reproducible. Now, example is that there are.
I want to clarify one thing, because when you say that you can do coding, but for our analysis, we don't need to do any coding, right? Because when you say coding, people get scared of maybe we need to do coding or something, especially if you are a PhD student, you want to finish your thesis, and if there is coding involved, then they get scared. But when you are using for your project, we can.
Yes. So the advantage of R is that it's a common language. So all you need to do is you have to apply some sort of code, but the sample codes are already available. You just make sure that your variable names are same. You can copy a code online. There are two popular platforms like GitHub, and there's one more, I don't remember its name. They are social media network for programmers. So if you go there or even search in Google that I need a code for running a serial mediation model, it will go send you to the GitHub platform and it will show you a sample text code with a sample data file. What student can do is replace the data file and make sure that variable names are changed and it will work.
So basically you need to know how to use the package, right?
Yes. And other way is that there is another software that can help you do this without code, but it is not that much versatile. Okay, so what after showing this, I will show you that software which can do the basic SEM and it is very quick. So there are two major libraries that need Lavan and SEMplot. Lavan will do the analysis, SEMplot will create the SEM diagram. So it has shown an example data set. So it can do three types of analysis: curly for regression, equal to curly for creation of latent variable, curly for variance or covariance. So for example, and it can do CFA and SEM, and then Lavan includes both of them. Okay, so let me show you example. For example, above one is the equation for regression. First is the name and then equal to. In R, we write equal to like this, less than dash. You can write equal to, it will not give you error, but this is a culture of R that use this sign so that the code is distinguishable from other programming languages. So linear model output 1 equal to LM linear model dependent variable independent variable data file. Same thing is in SEM. SEM output 1 equal to SEM independent variable and data file. But just little bit of different in writing the dependent and independent. So it will show you the output like this. So regression output is that one and SEM output is that one. You can notice that in SEM there is no intercept because I didn't show added 1 plus or the person who is creating, he should have written 1 plus AGEYR so that intercept is shown. In SEM, for that it should be shown. Now complicated form multiple regression, it will show you like this. Now for CFA, you may make indexes. So three indexes and three items each. And you say CFA output, it will create a output like this. So one for the baseline, because when you create a latent variable, it will fix one for at least one of them and then do a comparative. So these are the results for the index. And it is explaining the here. Now you can convert it into a detailed table so that if you want to make graphs, and that can be done like this. So you have already done the CFA. You say SEM path CFA, and then what labels you need estimates. So it is created the diagram and labeled it. So this is major difference that in AMOS or Smart PLS, you create this diagram and then estimate and it adds the values. But in R, it's not diagram interface, it's equation interface. So if the student has studied the Hayes book of mediation and moderation, where there are 70 models of mediation and moderation, where he has shown equations for all types. So if the student has understood how to write the diagram into an equation, he can do this. Means if somebody understands that the diagram, from the diagram, how many dependent variables are there, how many independent variables are there, how many latent variables are there, he can write the equation. And if he can write the equation, the programming is easy then. So this was not loading. Then this is an example of two indexes created, and they are also correlated with each other. This is a case study called walking dog. So when you run this and create a diagram, it looks like this, a dog which is walking. So two indices are made and which are correlated with each other and created from two items. So now other advantage of SEM here is that is, I don't know, available in AMOS or not. You can fix the coefficient values. You can apply restrictions. For example, if you compare with this equation, I have said that x should be created from x1 and x2. And I opened it, any weight can be applied here from the factor analysis. But here I said x should be made from 1 into x1 plus 1 into x2. So I ruled it out that the coefficient should be created from factor analysis, it should be fixed. So it will run, it will add 1 here. You can fix second across the equation, make them same. So it will make them same. So these are the restrictions that you can apply. This is the advantage of programming, that you can go within the model and test for hypothesis. Now this is a model, three indices, three items, and then correlation between the items, and it has shown zero correlations. So visual correlated with zero, textual plus zero speed. So it has this diagram, and you can see the correlations are now zero. It is zero here, and yeah, so they are zero with each other. Okay. Similarly, complex models, you allow for that correlation. So the model becomes like this. So there are few more, these are the only examples here. You can, now the other advantage is that like Israel, Lavan can also use the raw covariance matrix and use that in the analysis. So this is the advantage of this model. So the question that sir asked is that programming scares people, but if you want to go towards more complicated or more realistic analysis, you might have to modify the standard equations. But the problem is that the other softwares that have ready-made plugins, you cannot modify beyond a certain limit. But here, your limit is your imagination. If you have imagination that I can go there, it will take you there. So now the question was, if you need to do quickly, there's another software that is made in using R, and this is very popular nowadays. It's called Gmovie. Some researcher has made this software from R programming, and this is a graphical user interface of, and it can do SEM. An advantage of this software is that it has plugins available. You can add more plugins if that you want to do. Second advantage that it has is that anything that you can do here, it can convert it into R code so that you can store it later on, and or do it in R interface later on or for replication. Third advantage is that when you add the data and create the same structure, it will give you live analysis. That if you start adding the items in the diagram, it will update the results and show you the results every time you change the number. Rather than you make a diagram and press execute, it's live integrated. So let me open an example. This is one questionnaire that I have already loaded. So I will go in SEM. It asked me to do SEM syntax method or interactive. When I come here, so I have endogenous variable box, exogenous variable box. So I will create first endogenous variable. For that, I will pick latent items for that variable. Let's say I can pick 6 items to create first latent variable. So when I added this, you see it started working. It has shown that the diagnostics are provided. The exogenous variables are already made. So live analysis. Now I will add a exogenous latent variable. So for that, let's say I will pick these items, and it will start again updating. So unlike Smart PLS or MOS, some of the diagnostics are missing in that software. Some diagnostics are missing in other. Here, all of them are AC, like CFI, TLI, all of them which are very popular that you use. And there are more if you want to add. So let me get it full screen. So if you go down, you can add more diagnostics from here. Parameter options. You need to it will make a path diagram. And output options, you need HTMT, reliability indices, anything that you want to add, modification indices. If you want to do multi-group, so you will add loading. So it will update. So this software is made from R. So from start, what can happen is it's also free because it's made from R. So students can learn from here. Obviously, the what do you call it? The diversity is not there, but once you find a plausible model, you convert it into code and move it into R and then test for more complications.
So the standard methods can be done here.
Yeah, all of the standards as smart PLS or MOS function can be done here. You have to explore these options and find what you want to do.
And then you transform them into R codes and bring it there,
Yes.
and you can do the modification.
Yes, you can, yeah, like R editor. So here I think let me find the option. It will convert the function into set of codes.
And you can directly run it in R.
Yeah, then you can store it in R and run it later on. Or if you want to improve it, move it here again. So this was the presentation, and I can show you the quality of graph that I recently made. So in this folder, I can show you from here. Okay. This graph. So this is made in 300 dpi, but I took a screenshot because it was not fitting on the screen. But this is the quality of a graph in R. So what is this? I did a factor analysis cross-section wise in the panel data. So I did it in R, and this is an innovation. I called it heterogeneous factor analysis. So it creates a loop and picks one country at a time, does the factor analysis, and then stacks the data. So it means I have the factor loading value for each variable for each country. So 3 variables were there to make an index. So factor loading value for each country. So I plotted those factor loading values in a spider chart so that I can have a comparison which factor loading was high or low for which country. So this is done in R. Similarly, another graph I can show this KMO value for each cross section. So I can see which country has KMO high enough to consider that the index is feasible. So there was only few countries out of the sample that can be dropped. So this is the quality of the graph, and see this one. Now it's very difficult to read, but since the pixel density is so high, it is still not pixelating. I have zoomed it so much. If you make it in stata, if you zoom it this much, it will pixelate. It is not readable. So similarly, if you do, somebody is doing spatial analysis or from geography, and he is plotting world maps. So in R, it is very useful because when you plot a world map, you need to make sure that it is very high density so that you can zoom it and see countries. This can be done in R.
And the codes for these graphs are already there? Or
Yes.
you have to do it by yourself?
The basic codes are there. And if you want to add more details like title or x-axis title, that you need to do yourself. Basic codes are already, if you search it in R, like in help here or online, the code sets are already available. The only difference is that if you want to make user friendly for yourself, like you need to change color combination or you want to, for that I have guidebooks. I have slides available around 200 pages. It has shown how to change any type of thing in a graph. If you need change the font of the title, color of the title, size of the title, font size or color of the x-axis title. Similarly, any item on a graph, how to edit, it has given us guidelines. So it means you can mix and match and convert the graph into the way you want to show. I can share it to sir, and he will share to everyone. I will open it up here to show you what I was talking about, and then I will give it to you. It is somewhere here. These are all materials that I found online to how to make new types of graphs. But in that, one of them is detailed. Let me find which one was that. This one. So this is 94 pages. It has given us guidelines to change all of these types. You can change axes, titles, legends, grid lines, margins, multiple panels, colors, themes, lines, text, coordinates, chart types, ribbons, smoothings, interactive plots. So it has given then examples and shown you how to change it, like see black color to red, and then shown you other examples. Yes, ggplot. So within ggplot, how to make it customized for your requirement. So it has given example. So I will share you this file, and it has shown you the template code. What you need to do is pick it up, add your variable name, and change the data file. It will make the graph.
So only ggplot library is needed for all graphs, right? Or any other dependent?
ggplot will be used to make the graph, but if you need to modify the data first, you need to do the tidyverse.
Oh, tidyverse is
yes, and tidyverse already includes ggplot. So if you load the tidyverse, ggplot will automatically load.
So main library for the graphic is ggplot.
Yes, ggplot means grammar of graphics.
And what about this
These are some tutorials that people innovated and created a blog out of it. So I copied it so that sometimes I might need. This is called a Dumble plot. So I found this code. So I might need it because it can be used in panel data to see how the variable has grown. So it's called Dumble plot. I kept other. It's called a lollipop plot. So it looks like.
also support the 3D graphics?
Yes, it can make a 3D graph. It can make two types of 3D graph. One is static, other is that you can rotate it and it will convert it into a what you call it, what format that you can upload it on a website, and it is interactive. I don't know what we call it, open gel format. So if you have a website, you can say. So there's another rain cloud format. So this. It has a distribution plot on the top, box plot in the middle, and column chart bottom. It looks like raining. So these are some creative ways to get attention, and it might lead to publication.
Attention of the editors.
Yes, because he might like that picture to be shown on the title of the website, because some journals show at least one picture from the paper on the main page.
Now, this is very useful for the dashboard actually, and also
Yeah, yes.
provides the interface for the dashboard. Do you have any sample
For dashboard,
dashboard? Yeah.
I have made one. Let me find its name. I have made one for myself. I took a training from LinkedIn. There was a LinkedIn course. It's called Shiny Apps. So the library is Shiny. So let me open it up. I have saved this link in my CV. I will open it up from there. It's a very long name because the website that I made is free, not the paid one. So that's why the address is very long. So I don't remember that address.
You can make it short now.
For that I need to pay something because that was just a output of some training. When I will do professionally, I will adjust it accordingly. This is the website. So I uploaded it in the database of Shiny Apps. So what I did here that I used, mimic model, multiple indicators and multiple consequences. This is a SEM model type which can create a new index using inputs and outputs. So latent variable is in the middle and inputs of the latent variable and out consequences of the latent variable. It is called mimic model. It is more superior way to create a new index because it is confirming from two sides. So I created a national stress index. I published the paper. It is creating how much countries in stress psychologically. So this index is panel data. So each country has one value each for each year. So what I did, since it was a new index, I tried to learn to make a dashboard. So what I did first, you select a country and say update. So it will give you descriptive stats of the data that was used to make the index for that country. So these are the variable descriptives. Mean, median, mod, and other details are there. Then in the page 2, what I did, you select a country, select a continent, and select a year, and update. It will show you a time series chart of stress for that country, column chart as a comparison for that region and that year. Why I fixed it? Because I cannot make a three-dimensional chart here. That's why I fixed one country and smaller region so that the columns are few so that you can read. Otherwise, if you say all of them, there will be too many columns. And one here because I need to show cross section.
And how many countries you have made?
So in Europe, these are all European countries here. So, but you can pick any other region. All are there. So if you change the country year, it will change these columns for that year.
Now data is donated from R or somewhere else.
It's an Excel file.
Excel.
Yes, Excel file in the background.
Oh, background Excel file.
Yes,
CSV file.
yes, CSV file. If I add some inferential stats function in this dashboard, I might need R.
Okay.
This dashboard is made in R, but the data is static. The dynamism is here is the change in graphs, not an analysis. In these graphs, I didn't use any inferential stats part. If I had, then I would have used R for that too.
So, for example, if I have a big data in my Excel, then I can create this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can show you more examples. One person has made a dashboard. It's called Radiant. It looks just like SPSS and does all the functions. And it is made from R. But the function that it does machine learning functions. And so it is made in R. And the sir has already seen BiblioShiny. You might have known it's made in R. So, for example, if I say that pick this dependent variable and pick that independent variable, do the regression and give the results, then I will use R.
So all these BiblioShiny and other software, they are actually dashboards.
Yes. So map, I select 1 year, update. So it will plot the index on the map. Now this map is and the data and the map. Similarly, then there was about and contact. Just
for example, if I have my data for some countries,
yeah.
can I make the same thing?
Yes.
By using your code or?
You can, if you want to do the same thing, you can just edit my code. But if you need to add more features, you will
Because sometimes we need this country maps, like this map, world map, with different values.
But for that, you don't need this detailed code. The country map plotting is just 2-line code.
In R.
Yes.
So
You just need the shape file. You know what is SHP file. You need longitude, latitude for the world. And then you need the Excel file where the country names and the shape file country names are same. And then you say that this is my data file, merge with the shape file. And then R will plot it.
But is there any dashboard available already where I can upload my Excel file?
No, no. If your data is for the world, it's easier to do yourself. If it is not for the world, then you will not find a shape file for that. If you say I am going to do randomly selected countries which are scattered around the world, so what will happen is you make a map and there will be dark places where no data is available.
But my question is, if I have the data file and if there is any dashboard available where shape file is already there, so it just matches the country name.
We can make that and we can sell it if somebody wants.
Because there are many situations where we want to create.
Actually, what I notice is in the data science, the business students are moving towards this field. In HR and in data science, they are focusing on learning how to make dashboards. But the problem is that they are only focusing on, for them, dashboard itself is big thing. But problem is what to show in it. They have to learn that too. For that, they need to be good in stats. So this was one activity that I did. So what I am focusing on learning is that if we can make a dashboard where it downloads the World Bank data master file, which includes 1500 variables, and it gives you option to select one DV and multiple IVs, it will give you regression results.
And Dr. Noman, is it possible for you to show us how you load the survey data, for example, initially, and do the cleaning and data handling, before going to the analysis? Is
Yes.
it possible? I don't know, because we have short of time.
Actually, what I can do is that I have one of my the slides that I showed you. I have created an LMS for our training. There are like 8 weeks, and in the first week I have talked about data cleaning. What I can give you is I can give you access for that LMS, and it is in Google Class. You can join that and download all the materials and study whenever you're free.
And you also have video lectures?
Yes, in that LMS, the data files, slides, and my video recordings and code files are all there. Complete lecture.
And Dr. Noman also has a YouTube channel, and where he has created many different topics, which could be.
So the LMS channel has the relevant videos and further studying recordings or further study topics. So because if I show you, I am not confident that you will absorb it, because it. So what I can do is you can just join that, and from that you will also know my email address. You can ask later on anytime. Yes, if you give a blanket statement to R that I want to do this, give me a code, it will not be reliable. If you go specific that this is my code and it does this thing, I want to do this thing more, just modify it, it will not give an error. Prompt. What I do is usually, first of all, I write what I know and then I try it, then I so it means, so if you want to use the chat GPT, you will it will give sometimes error, but if you share the error to chat GPT, it will know how to correct it.
In that case, we don't need any to learn coding.
Yes. Yes. So that's why I'm saying so one should not be scared, because you all only need to know what you want to do. Yes. So the dashboard that I made, that I showed you, it took me 1 week. Now with ChatGPT, I can make it in 1 day.
No, but the important thing is that even you have a code, So that understanding is important.
Yes.
Yes, code you know, ChatGPT will create a code.
No, ChatGPT can also guide you.
Okay, for example, you want to do this, and now you should know the steps, understanding of the code, how does it work,
Yes.
and exactly where you will hit that one to change it.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you will then start the ChatGPT and also you will get to learn.
For that, ChatGPT has done one more thing. When you ask ChatGPT to write your code, it will also add the commentary on it. ChatGPT also gives the commentary, the syntax. It tells you what.
But taking time, at least we should know that the understanding of what's happening in the code.
Yes.
That is important. So that's why we can change according to our requirements,
Yes.
what variable we need or what.
So for that, what is necessary is when you get the code, try to run one line at a time and see what is happening.
Yes.
And then note it down that from one line to 10, this has happened, but I wanted this.
Yes, exactly.
So you can then ask that you gave me the descriptive stat, but it doesn't include the normality test.
Yeah.
So how you can modify it will tell you how to do this. So I used to tell that when I was teaching R before ChatGPT, I was maybe because of I only knew 5% of R, and I'm teaching to people. But now I can claim that at least I have 100% access to R. I might not know 100% R, but accessibility to the knowledge of R is 100%. So when I'm teaching, if somebody asks me a difficult question, I will go home and learn it myself and then transfer.
So what about synthetic data? We usually create it by itself.
Yes.
With tag library.
Yes.
So here is any option to.
Yes, you can random number generators or distribution based generators.
I want something like data from the any, for example, bank.
Yes.
I don't want to share the data, so I want to create like 1,000 customers with this attributes.
Yes.
So is there any option to create from the art?
Yes, but it as much I know, we call it simulation, simulated data.
Yeah, synthetic data.
Yeah. So in simulated data, you can give characteristics variable wise, not respondent wise.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know if you want to create variable columns, you can tell us that this variable is random number between 1 and 10, or a normal distributed number between this, or a Poisson distribution. So you can column wise create a generated data. But yes, yes, or give the distribution. But the way you are saying, you might be focusing on each row has a characteristic that I might have to explore. I might not know about it.
So more questions from the students, if you have any, and if you have